Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast, where life, sports, and medicine intersects. We are glad that you are part of this growing community where we strive to help you strengthen your mindset, help you grow your assets, and help you achieve whatever level of success that you want for your life. Go to our website at Dr.Derrick, thesportsdoctor.com, where you can find all the latest content, and you can also follow us on our social media channels. Now, let's get into this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. We have another very interesting guest for you, close family friend. I want to introduce you to Raina Windham, who is a mother extraordinaire, wife, entrepreneur, and is the senior vice president for Bravenly Global. And that's what we're really going to be talking to you about today. So welcome to the podcast, and I cannot wait to interview you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's an honor, definitely. I love hearing your podcast, and of course, we love you guys as family. But definitely blessed to be here as senior vice president of Bravenly. I love this career move for our family, and I was always one to roll my eyes at network marketing. I thought it was a big scam, a big scheme, a big pyramid scheme, which you hear a lot, until I got into it and saw that there's a different life and a different option for you and your family. You don't have to do the 9 to 5 grind, and that's okay. I was doing that too till here recently, but you don't have to go that route. You can earn and build a business for your family to leave a legacy for your family. That doesn't have to be, hey, I'm working for so-and-so, from clocking in and clocking out and climbing that corporate ladder. So it's just another option, another way. And same with Bravenly's products. It's a natural product, health and wellness, another way, another option that's out there. So people are searching, they're longing, they're reaching to feel better. They want to look better, feel better, do better for them and their family. So it's kind of why I started that. And then, of course, the financial aspect of it.
Yeah. So I think we have to start off with kind of the backstory of the Windhams and the Burgess connection. So we met, I guess now probably about 6 years ago. We were both attending church at Agape in Laurel, Mississippi. We had been there for a couple of years. I know you guys have moved around a couple of times, but that's home for you, kind of home-ish, right? But our family's connected because we have kids. We have 3. You guys have 3. Seems like you guys have more, but it always seems like you have more kids. Very similar ages. So some in high school. Congratulations, just got your first out of high school, heading into college. And then we have the little ones who will keep our families together for a long time. So we built a relationship around our children, around our families. We've traveled together. We've gone to church together. So we've shared life together. And Bravenly Global, you've been involved now for, I believe, a year. And I believe day one, you probably told us about it. And we were very, very, very hesitant, as we always are, about anything. But I observed you for probably 9 to 10 months. And I observed not only you in the business, but you, how excited you were about the products, as well as Shannon, how excited he was about the products and the impact. And we can talk about that some too. At some point, we will definitely get Shannon on the podcast to share his story. But just watching you and your family and having that trust and relationship allowed me to take a closer look at Bravenly and what it could offer me. I'm a physician, so it's easy to just say, hey, I have a full-time job. I don't have time. But, when there's a good opportunity or when there's something that could help myself or my patients, I like to pay attention to it. So what we're going to do today, kind of the focus, is to talk about how do you get physicians in this space. And network marketing is foreign to many, definitely foreign to me. Entrepreneurship to many physicians is like almost taboo because you were trained to be a doctor, and many people will say that's what your life calling is. And some people have a narrow vision to saying that's the only thing you really should do is focus on taking care of patients and making their lives better through whether it's intervention from a primary care standpoint or surgery, whatever you train to be, that's all you should be. So we have to kind of reverse that shift or mindset to really be able to be successful in other realms of life.
Derrick, I know that often, I mean, as a good doctor, which you are and your wife is, for both of you guys, you have to meet your patients where they're at. So a lot
Absolutely.
of times what people complain about, what I hear my friends and family complain about, are going into a facility or doctor's office or even in for surgery, and they're saying this is hurting, this is not feeling good, I've been dealing with this. Oh, that's just growing pains. Oh, that's just normal, that's just you getting older, you know. And a lot of times good physicians do, but a lot of times physicians are like, okay, let's get this case closed, let's get this done, let's get the surgery over, let's get them scheduled and be done with the patient. Whereas you believe in follow up and making sure your patients are good before and after. So with Bravenly, we're not doctors by any means, but the products are created by naturopathic doctors that are looking in the natural health and wellness space. And it's meeting our customers where they're at. So if we just go with an approach of selling, okay, I want to sell this because I need to make X amount this month. Yeah, you should have goals. However, if you don't build that relationship with your customers and get them to trust you and be a result, a product of the product, they're not going to trust you to purchase. And it may be something like, I'm having anxious feelings. Okay, I have calm for that if you want to go a natural route. We need our doctors, we need our nurses, we need all of our medical staff. I mean, we are never going to ask any physician, doctor, surgeon, whatever, to quit and do this full time. Now, there are some that are on my team personally that have cut back on their hours because, as you know, and can speak on, physicians work long, strenuous hours and are on call and having to dig into family time. And I know that you've balanced that really well. So I'd love to talk to you about that as well. But building the relationship first, seeing what their needs are, not trying to sell them the entire Bravenly catalog of products, but trying to hear them. And if they only want energy, let's just talk about what gives energy. Let's not give them 10 products and try to sell $1,000 worth of products to get that sale. So I think listening to the customer first, just like you would listen to your patient first, and then offering them solutions to help them, and then to continue to follow up. The retention rate here is crazy. The residual income is great, but it comes from repeat customers. If the product's not working, if they don't like it, if it's not making a difference after they've given it a solid, month, 2 months to try it, not just a sample, then they are going to look elsewhere. In this society of GLP-1 everywhere, there people are looking for alternatives, but they're desperate. They're desperate to feel better, look better, lose weight. And that's what I like about Bravenly. We're not a weight loss company. We're health and wellness. So we have something for everybody. But yeah, as a physician, how is that for you, meeting patients where they're at when you're having to listen to their ailments and try to offer a solution?
Yeah, so I'll first speak to the listening part and to hearing your patients, because many times patients will come in and don't feel heard
Mhm.
because physicians are on in many settings under really strict time constraints. So you have 20, 30 people that you have to get through. Each person might have 10 to 15 minutes, no matter how big your problem is or how many problems you might have. So, especially as a surgeon, I'm usually focused on one problem at a time. So, when someone comes in and they say, hey, I have this, it's hard sometimes for the physician to be able to focus on all the many issues you have going on and also talk about alternative forms of medicine, which sometimes many doctors, especially those trained in the United States, allopathic medicine, many times we are trained on procedures and on pharmaceutical medications. Learning about natural products is something that you usually have to do on your own. And many times, some physicians just don't have time to go into it. I've been talking to my patients about natural products for many years because many times they'll ask, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this collagen supplement or this supplement? And we'll discuss it, but I never really had alternative or options really to give them other than saying go to GNC and just use whatever products you see. So I think
Mhm.
it's really important as a physician to be educated about what's out there, because people are going to ask you questions about it. And your expertise, many times you're going to be able to give them the best input, no matter if you don't really are not completely comfortable with the product or not. You can give your opinion, and that's what they want many times, is your opinion. So I feel that listening to the patient, hearing their problem, trying to get to the root of whatever it is. Because sometimes I tell people I can do a procedure or a surgical procedure on you. However, if there are all other things going on, if you're not healthy from a hypertension standpoint, a diabetes standpoint, if you have many other factors that are not well controlled, then you're not going to have your optimal result or outcome. So I think that's really important. And wellness overall is very important to help my patients get their best outcome.
Yeah, so that's interesting and great to hear that you've been offering or saying there's alternatives. And similar to that with Bravenly, if somebody comes to us and says, I have X, Y, and Z, we're not in the medical field. I mean, there are some that can say, hey, this is what I would recommend because it helps with this. But if they're coming to us and obviously saying other things, but if they're saying we have anxious feelings, we know what to say to recommend. But we always tell them check with your doctor, take our, because we have downloadable PDFs that they can literally take a screenshot of, walk into their doctor's office, show it to them, and the doctor can say yes or no. And we very rarely get anybody that says no unless they have, okay, a mushroom allergy. You're not going to take Adapt functional mushrooms. You're not going to do the Brew Extreme mushroom coffee if you have a mushroom allergy. If you're allergic to turmeric, you're not going to get gold, you know. So there are some situations. But if they say I have swelling and it just will not go down, I have joint pain and inflammation, I cannot seem to get my gut in check. And I've been to 15 doctors and it's just, you know, it works for a little while and then it doesn't. So it's just a natural option, an alternative. It's not the same thing as you writing a prescription for something that they definitely need after surgery, you know, or you writing something before. It's definitely not that. So it's not replacing it, but like you said, it's an alternative to where you can say, hey, just look into Bravenly's Ignite because you're experiencing fatigue and you're experiencing wanting to snack every 20 minutes and it's appetite control. You're having a lot of mood swings. If you want something natural, take Calm. You're having trouble functioning and cognitive function, memory, take Adapt, Fit Fuel if you want a replacement shake. We have all the different products that can target their issue without targeting their diagnosis, without them saying, I have this, so I need this. And because we're not trained and we did not go to school for all those years and we do not specialize in telling them what their diagnosis is. Some people like to self-diagnose. I'm sure you've ran into that too. They try to say they have this, and that. And I'm like, oh, what doctor, check with your, oh, no, I just know that I do. Well, you need to first check with your doctor, see a physician, get a family physician, somebody to where you actually know what you're dealing with before you're trying to fill up your supplement cabinets and take all these vitamins that aren't doing anything for you. And spreading the word about it, and you're passionate about it, which I am, that passion is not going to be lost. And I've said it 1,000 times, even if I was not a brand partner with Bravenly, I would still be a customer. I would be somebody's customer. So why not try to make an extra stream of income for my family? As a doctor, though, I wanted to ask you a few things. As far as your patients go, are you finding more, like being that it's 2025, that they are asking for more natural alternatives?
Yes, I would definitely say people are more educated now. And I encourage my patients to actually ask questions because I hate when they come in, they tell me what's wrong. I tell them what I feel is the diagnosis. And then I give options. Hey, these
Yeah,
are X, Y, and Z. You can do this, this, this. And then I say, okay, so what are your thoughts? What do you want to do? And they say, oh, you're the doctor, you're the surgeon. You tell me what to do. Like, no, I just went through the
yeah,
last 10 minutes of giving you your options. You make the decision. So
yeah,
I always empower my patients to make the decision for themselves. And I encourage people that do your research, research the surgical procedures, research the products, and whether it's Bravenly or whether you're going to GNC picking up a product.
yeah.
Or if your physician prescribes you medicine, research that as well because it's your health, it's your body. You have to be the person ultimately in control of your health. So anytime someone comes in and asks me about products, hey, what do you think? Many of the natural products have been around longer than modern medicine. We're talking turmeric, black pepper, apple cider vinegar. These products have been used, but what Bravenly has done is come up with naturopathic products where the formulations include many different products in one package. And I think that's the kind of exciting thing about Bravenly. with many times low sugar or no sugar and
Yeah.
natural forms of products to help as far as your body.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's the blends. That's where the magic happens, is the blends. And they don't withhold any information as far as ingredients. Everything's listed out. They may not tell you the exact amount that they blend because that's the business, right? Like that's the proprietary blend. I mean, we're not going to get the recipe from a chef that's a five-star chef at his restaurant on how he makes his steak. Like it's the secret sauce. But everything is on each package. Let's see. So, like for example, our Fit Fuel, it's got the Otaka, colostrum, eggshell membrane. It's got digestive enzymes, fenugreek, collagen, and then it's got a blend, and it'll tell you it's got over 50 servings of organic fruits and vegetables, pumpkin, shiitake mushroom. I mean, it's got everything is natural. And in 2025, a lot of people claim that things are natural. And what's funny is before Bravenly, I never picked up when I was drinking a Coke or eating a bag of Skittles. I never looked at the ingredients. I didn't care what was going in my body. I liked how it tasted. I liked that it gave me that little quick pick me up. And then the Skittles, they taste good. I like sweets, you know, my family does too, but we had to really limit that. As we're getting older, as we're trying to be more active with our kids and all of their extracurriculars, as you know, yours are very active as well. So you want to not just be there, but be alert and enjoy, like be calm at basketball games. I know me and your wife have that in common that we have to work on. But you know, just being able to enjoy fully. And what's funny is, just like you said, research when you write a prescription or another doctor in your facility writes a prescription. People really don't, right? Because that's part of the trust aspect. So if you write a prescription, they go get it filled at the pharmacy, they take it. They don't look at possible side effects. They don't look at this. And what's funny with Bravenly is the one thing that I run into all the time is what's in it? Well, how much? Where is it facilitated? Is it tested for heavy metals? And what I'm proud to say is yes, yes, and yes. It's FDA certified facilities. Now, no supplements are FDA approved. You're not going to see approval on that. But that's why
And
it's
that's no
important to
matter
do
where
your
you buy.
research. Yeah,
Yeah.
no matter what you buy. And you brought up a great point. You can go in GNC and buy a bottle of apple cider vinegar or turmeric or mushroom or ginger or whatever it may be. However, you're going to have to buy 5, 6, 7 bottles to get the one blend, and it's still not everything that's offered in one of our products. And so what's good if somebody hits me with, oh, well, a bag of Rush Extreme is $75. Yeah, but it's 30 servings. That's a month's supply. If you go and get one energy drink per day, you're going to pay double, and it's not good for you, and it's high in sugar. So, and that's the thing. That's what's great about here. I am not like the best physical shape of my life. I'm not a size 0. There are people of all walks of life. There are people that are in the medical field. I have people on my team that are CrossFit trainers, super fit. This is their life. And what's good is we have something for everybody. You don't have to be a size 0 fit CrossFit trainer, runner, track star to be taking these products, but also to be involved with telling people about them and sharing them. Because that's one thing that people get hung up on. Well, I'm not super, super healthy. I don't work out every day. So how am I going to tell somebody to take this Fit Fuel or take a hydrate with electrolytes and BCAs when, you know, I am not the model of health? Well, you're trying to do better. You know, something is making you feel better. And there are so many people on my team. I have one CrossFit trainer that she's just like, I didn't realize that I still, even though I was doing all the things by the book, that I still was exhausted every morning when I got up. By 3 o'clock, I had a crash. I was drinking 4 or 5 cups of coffee, and I didn't realize my body was hungry for natural nutrition. And she was, you know, had her bulk powder before she worked out and pre-workout and post-workout and all those things. But if you're not fueling your body with the right ingredients, it's going to fight you. And you know that if people are not active and they have not done the exercises you recommended, well, guess what? They're probably going to have surgery. It's a preventative and an alternative, but it's not a fix-all miracle, right? Like it's not a product that's like, here, take this, you're guaranteed to lose 20 pounds. It's also not a fix-all financial. It's not, hey, start this and you're going to make $2,000 a week or however much your goal is. But it's an alternative. It's an extra stream of income or a mainstream, which just happened with me. I resigned from my 8 to 5. And so it's going to be my mainstream of income and what's going to supply us to, or supply my daughter with college money. So I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful I didn't go against what my gut, heart, and brain knew and prayed about it. And I knew the products worked. So, I mean, we influence every day. You don't have to be on social media or star, but if you buy something that you like, okay, you used a new tool. Okay, you're going to tell your friends that are also orthopedic surgeons about it and say, hey, this really helped facilitate this and cut down on surgery time for this amount. Oh, well, this really gave me energy all day and it cut down on me snapping at my kids. It's summer and they're eating all the snacks. And, so we have this just things that help. And so it really is just the alternative, not the fix all. In a society where everybody wants instant gratification, that sometimes people want that boom, I need that kick that a Monster or Red Bull gives me. Well, that kick is great for the first 30 minutes, but you're going to crash after a few hours and then you want another kick. And then you're fueling your body with sugars, unnatural dyes, and then you're wondering why it's craving those things. Just like I was with Coke. I needed a Coke every day because if I did not, I got a headache.
As
And
well
so
as
I
my
did
little
not.
baby too. She was already
Yeah.
drinking Cokes. We'll share a Coke together every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I
And it's
think,
not
like
to say you can't enjoy
yeah,
life or enjoy, the guilty pleasures or get an ice cream. It's just saying that we have products to help support what you need.
yeah, and I think the word is moderation. There's not one easy fix to anything, and sometimes you might need the medication your doctor's prescribing, the surgery that your surgeon's telling you about, and the supplement. It doesn't mean that you can take a supplement and your whole life is going to be over,
Yeah.
be cured or be better. These are things that we have to exercise. We have to watch our diet. We have to be careful with what products we're taking. We have to be careful with what surgeries we're having to make sure that they're
Yeah.
the right thing. I don't think there's a silver bullet to many of the issues that we have in life. And I think that we should always be open and exploring for other options, which is what, brings us into this circle that we're in now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thankful for it too. And as far as the business side of it, if you want to go into that a little bit, the comp plan is unlimited. There's an income disclosure. It's bg-ids.com income disclosure statement, which changes because we are growing. And a lot of people also roll their eyes when you hear ground floor opportunity. Well, I heard somebody say it's basement opportunity because we are not a household name yet. Like if you go up to somebody and say, hey, try this Bravenly sample. What's Bravenly? That's still what I get and what I'll get for a little while. But I do know that in watching my sister-in-law that I joined and watching her network marketing with a big skincare industry for years, I regretted not joining her at the start and then said if she ever did something else that I would make sure I would join. Well, still, when she came to me about Bravenly, I said, I don't know, like this isn't it for me. Like you've got the social media following, you've got, that network. I don't like, I hate being salesy to people. I've been in sales and customer service for 20 plus years, but I hate making the sale or making a friendship transactional. And so she was like, it's not like that. It's no different than if you bought something on Amazon and you got on your social media and said, hey, look at this purse or look at this new lip gloss or look at whatever, I love this. I think Susie, one of her things on her wish list for her birthday was a certain lip gloss she saw, I think, on a reel. And so I got it for her birthday. And it's just one of those things. You get influence every day. People just don't realize it. So why not support a mom trying to send her kid to college? Or why not support you to have more time with your family? Or support you just in general of giving your patients natural alternatives with saying, hey, I have something that you can possibly use, but research it first. Look into it yourself. And this is an option for you to help. I mean, Shannon couldn't have just taken gold and not had surgery. Like we needed both things, right? Like Shannon needed the surgery. He needed double patella surgery and or bilateral patella, I guess is the medical term. But he also needed gold to continue to be able to walk for miles and to be able to be active with our children. I think he needed both. Otherwise, it would have been stiff joints and muscle spasms and swelling and all of that if we didn't have this alternative. So I'm very thankful for medicine, and I'm very thankful for these natural supplements for sure. And that's what I think people need to realize. There's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, I agree. And I thank you for sharing that story, especially with Shannon. And like you said, coming back from ruptured tendons in his knee and on both sides is
Yeah.
one is a long process, and it's a lifelong process because okay, sure, you have surgery, your function's being restored, but it does not mean that okay, you're not going to be have stiffness or swelling or inflammation periodically, and you're going to have flare-ups. So you
Right.
can either take NSAIDs to help fight that, or you can take natural products, or it might be a combination of both. And we
Right.
know that turmeric has been around forever almost,
Yeah.
and the anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric and how they can help. And apple cider vinegar, like we mentioned earlier, it's been around, but that gold product with those two together, for many people, I can't help everyone surgically. And sometimes you might have kidney issues or you might have heart issues. So you're really limited sometimes with what products you can take. So I think
Yeah.
exploring those options are very important.
Yeah, I agree. So, as a physician, Derek, and specializing in sports medicine, you deal with a lot of athletes and you deal with a lot of just seeing them injure. I mean, injuries going to come with the game, the football game, the basketball, whatever it may be. Like it's eventually going to come. I mean, Aaliyah has a weak ankle right now because she turned the wrong way playing basketball camp. So, that's something that we're trying to doctor with natural products. But if it goes into we need to go see a doctor, that's what we'll do. So, how would you approach your colleague, somebody that you mentor, whether it's an athlete or somebody that's a coworker, with, hey, I've got some natural options that I want you to look at as a physician because you're a well respected doctor. And like you said, you are hesitant because you don't want to put your name on anything that doesn't work, that isn't backed. We're a debt free company. Like that's one thing that caught my attention. Everybody can come in anywhere in any place of business if they're an investor and say, you know what, I'm pulling my investment out and you've got 30 days to shut down. That's one thing I like about Bravenly. So going back to what I was asking you, colleagues, athletes, how would you approach them as far as introducing them to Bravenly when it's not a household name yet? How would you go about talking to them?
Yeah, I think for many physicians, especially for me as an orthopedic surgeon, I worked for 15 years post high school to get finished with my medical degree and to become a surgeon. So I'm very protective of that. And I want to make sure that anything I'm doing aligns with my mission statement. So I'm going to first educate myself about any products that I give to my patients or any surgeries that I do. And then second, I want to test it out myself. So before I would do anything with Bravenly, I started taking the products myself because I wanted to be able to say, okay, I've used this, I've tested this, and this is what my experiences have been. And then thirdly, I'm going to tell the individual athlete to educate themselves because you do not want to get into a situation where you're taking something that might be against the rules of regulation of whatever your sport or organization is,
Right.
especially with drugs or performance enhancement products being so widespread now. Any little thing might not even alter your performance, but be in your body and you get tested and now you're in trouble. Now, I think many times athletes are looking for an edge. They're trying to optimize their health, trying to optimize their performance, but you have to be careful what you're taking and what are the long-term implications of it. So I lead with education first. I'm not a salesperson by any stretch of the imagination. Thank God my bills are paid. Thank God I have a good salary. So I do not worry about, you know, making a sale. Actually, I hate the thought of even being a salesperson at all, as do many
Yeah.
other physicians, which make spaces like this really hard to enter. So I lead with education and I try to say this is an option. You research it yourself and then let me know what you think. So I think
Yeah.
that's really important. But when you start to compare some of the products that are here versus some of the products that people are walking in convenience stores, grabbing off the shelf and chugging day in and day out, I think you have to make sure that you have a best option. And many of them are with Bravenly. Are you a young physician who's frustrated in figuring out how you're going to continue to fund yourself through this early phase of your career? Are you tired of speaking to lenders who do not understand your plight? We have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Doc2Doc Lending.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Zwade Marshall, co-founder, CEO of Doc2Doc Lending. We are the exclusive lending partner for physicians and dentists in the United States. We underwrite our loans thoughtfully, knowing the physician journey and your career trajectory. We're a company that's been founded by doctors and built for doctors because we get it. Banks don't understand all the ways in which we struggle through educational debt, consumer debt, as we're trying to make ends meet during a very challenging time of our lives. Doc2Doc is underwritten with thoughtful process that's meant to give you credit for all the unique physician characteristics that you have, like being board certified, having a dual degree, undergoing and finishing a specialty or a fellowship as well, and just being employed as a physician. All of those things give you credit to get your interest rate lower with our platform.
So we are glad to partner with Doc2Doc Lending. So if you are stuck trying to figure out where you can get funding or where you can continue to support your family during this time of transition in your career, we offer you a solution. Doc2Doc Lending, physician-owned, understands your plight, understands what it's like to be an early physician or a physician who wants to do something outside of medicine. Check out Doc2Doc Lending. This segment is a paid advertisement for Doc2Doc Lending, Inc. Loans are made available by DR Bank, member FDIC, and are subject to credit approval and available in approved states only. Representative APRs for Doc2Doc range from 9.99% to 26.99%. Terms and conditions available at doc2doclending.com.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And like you said, and pairing it with exercise and eating better and, moderation, that word that you used, a lot of people, they want instant gratification, but also like I know that if I start my day and I don't even like donuts, but let's use that as an example. I eat a donut. Well, all day long, I'm going to want sweets. I'm going to want bread filled with sugar for lunch. I'm going to want, a Big Mac instead of if I started my day with an egg with cottage cheese or avocado toast or something more healthy, then I'm going to go throughout the day wanting healthy. And that's why I start my day with these products, because it makes me make better decisions. It's cognitive function. It's focus. It's not, it gives you appetite control. So I love that we have the options there. And like I said, we need our doctors, we need our surgeons, our nurses, we need our teachers, we need all of that. But also, a lot of people don't talk about the wear and tear on your bodies. I was talking to Maisha yesterday for a little bit on wear and tear on bodies just from performing the surgeries, being on your feet all day, tending to your patients before and after and during. And, maybe you need that extra pick me up, but you don't want anything that would alter your function, especially in surgery. You're not going to go in surgery and take something, before. You're going to have a clear mind, clear head, and that comes from your profession, your expertise. But sometimes you may be tired on that drive home, or sometimes you may be tired getting up the next day, or your muscles may be stiffer. There's natural options. And the thing that I love about this is our pediatrician, personally, I'm not speaking for everybody else's, she approved every single product for all three of my daughters, 9, 14, and 18. And there's only one product, of course, the hormone supplement Drive, that she didn't approve for my 9-year-old, nor would I give it to her. But it's an alternative to where when Amaya was running track, I could give her Hydrate versus her grabbing a Gatorade off the shelf. And Gatorade has been around for I don't know how many years. And it's just something you drink. And again, we don't look at the ingredients and we don't look at how much sugar's in there or what dyes. We just drink it because we know it's supposed to hydrate our body. But there's an alternative here that combines the electrolytes, the BCAAs, the L-theanine, and it just works together and I know when I drink it, it just is refreshing, because I think I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the pro over here, but I think I read where 76% of Americans walk around dehydrated, not even knowing it. And that's probably so true, because we are drinking the products like Cokes and sweet teas, and we're not just drinking water in our glass all day. So we have the alternative products to help with that, to make the better decisions, to give you the energy to want to go work out. And where everything's processed and there's dyes, and our chicken looks this big because it's been injected, 500 times. We need something to offset. No different than if we want to give our kids the best, we should also be taking the best and using the best to be there for them. So I was guilty as a mom of 3. I mean, Maya's 18. So for this long being like, okay, well, they need this, but I'll drink this, or I'll eat this. Like I'll eat what's left, right?
I'm
Like
the
not
daddy.
nourishing
I'm
my
the
body.
mama.
Yeah. I'll do this. I can have this, but you can't have this. But now, like watching them come in here and make a smoothie because they've watched me 1,000 times, that's healthy for them. Or, Mom, I'm feeling really tired today. And I had to go work a 12-hour shift at the hospital today. She left at 6 this morning. And so right before she left, she made a rush and a hydrate to take with her, and then grabbed one in her pocket. And then she took an adapt for function to get through the day. She's got to deal with patients all day, and some are difficult. She works on the kidney floor. So, just having that alternative to grab things that are better for you, that's going to get you through the day, and knowing that she's not going to go to that hospital gift shop or the cafeteria and grab Celsius or grab the things that are going to make her crash, or have the jitters or be shaky while she's trying to help patients. So, what's your take on the products? What would you say? I know as a physician, you may not have a favorite product yet, but is there one that stands out to you, or one that you're like, wow, my patients would really benefit from this?
Yeah, I'm a minimalist when it comes to many different things. And
Yeah.
for myself personally, I'm guilty of going the whole day. I get into the routine, especially if I'm in and out of surgeries. I might not drink 8 ounces of water the whole day. So I'm walking around volume depleted myself. And many times I do not want to eat certain foods because it might give me the jitters. I try to steer away from heavy things that are heavy in sugar in the morning, especially on my surgery days. But what I found is that even when I might just drink water, if I take one of the products like Rush in the morning, I do not get the crash that I would take like a Red Bull or something. I would always hate taking it. I would only take it, number one, if I was in dire emergency. If I'm driving late at night and I do not want to fall asleep, I would take like a Red Bull. And then I'll
Yeah.
get home and I'll, not be able to go to sleep, or I'll feel jittery, or I'll wake up with a headache. So I always steer away from those products. The most I typically drink is like Coke. I don't drink coffee routinely. I'll
Yeah.
drink tea every once in a while, but I'm not necessarily a caffeine junkie, so to speak. But I
Yeah.
hear and I hear the stories from patients and colleagues about how much caffeine they're consuming daily.
Mhm.
And, it's pre-workout and it's Celsius and it's this and it's that. And some of the volumes of caffeine are not really healthy for your
Yeah.
heart, for your bodies in general. So what I would say, what I found is that I can take like the Rush, even on a day where I'm in the operating room and I don't have jitters, but I do feel more energized. Or,
Yeah.
one thing that I feel is really good is the turmeric and apple cider vinegar, the gold, especially for arthritic patients or
Yeah.
fighting inflammation. Those are the products that have really spoke to me, as well as hydrate, of course, with athletes, with my kids, with other athletes. Water, number one, you have to lead with water, but at
Yeah.
some point you need the electrolytes. The hydrate has amino acids as well, which is what most things over the counter do not have. And it has little to no sugar
Yeah.
versus we know that the sports drinks over the counter are loaded with sugar, which
Right.
take away from your hydration as well. So those are the products that really spoke to me and I could really identify with, and that really drew me closer to the company.
I believe it because I've seen it in Shannon, right? Like I've seen him being able to easily walk up the stairs or go downtown and walk, all the stairs and the steps. Y'all have been downtown, the waterfalls. And that's something, I mean, he's been playing basketball 3 days a week with us at the gym. And that's something that, and I'm still, I'm looking at him like crazy, like, don't, we're not going Kobe, we're not going LeBron, we're not doing anything like that, just light play. But, just watching him
Jack.
move. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, he tried to cross up Aaliyah the other day and I was like, no, 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 no. We're not doing that. But, just watching him jump on the trampoline, it's a lifestyle change. And when you hear the words in society today of this is life changing, it's quality of life, it is. And we can attest to that because we've seen it in him. And it's life changing for me because I used to wake up with super low energy. Like as a mom, you got to get up, you got to get the kids ready. But I was just, just blah. And so now, like, I look forward to getting up. That's the first thing I think about. I do my prayer. I come in here, I take my supplements, and then I eat healthy throughout the day. And you want to share it because I mean, I was in Dollar General last week, and there was a mom in the front with her kid on her hip and one in the buggy. And she was talking about how exhausted she was and that she was dreading summer because she had to be with them all day. And I just thought, man, like how many people think like that because they can't enjoy because they're exhausted from the continuous cycle of life. And you want to be present, you want to be available for your kids, for yourself, and showing up joyful. And so that's the change that I saw in myself. And then of course the physical change I saw in Shannon. And there is weight loss comes with it. If that's something you're looking for. Some people are also looking for weight management. I have a patient that has Crohn's disease, and she loves the Fit Fuel because her the boost and the different drinks she was drinking were really upsetting her stomach. And so now she's found a balance with this and makes her smoothies with balance and Fit Fuel, and it really helps her a lot. So that's what we mean. There's so many things that we can't even share because they would be considered a medical claim, right? There's so many things that we see on our team pages and that the messages we get every day of what it's helped with. And we want to claim it. We want to shout it from the rooftops, but we can't. So we really, really encourage people to just try it, be open to the conversation, and be open to the business side. And I love that you brought up that you're not in this for an extra stream of income or money. Yeah, that'd be nice coming in, but you're not in that for this. You're in this to have an alternative for your patients if they're looking for it. And it's not something that you're going to go to your patient and be like, hey, I'm not writing a prescription, I'm giving you this instead. It's not a instead thing. It's a, hey, if they ask, is there a natural product that you recommend that I can go buy? Well, yeah, there's gold that has apple cider vinegar and turmeric that will help with your inflammation after surgery. So I love that we have that opportunity. And I love that there's so many different variety in medical field or not, stay-at-home moms, or I mean, it's crazy. There's a scientist on our team. Like it's just multiple different people in different walks of life that they've found their way through Bravenly financially and with the products.
So yeah, speaking of Shannon on a trampoline, that makes me cringe. But back on the basketball court, I remember he swore, hey, I'm hanging it up. And deservedly so. I mean, someone who ruptures both patellar tendons, that is a career-altering, life-altering, sometimes even life-threatening condition. So to see him come full circle is impressive. To see him even be motivated to do some of the things are impressive. And I know that some of the Bravenly products play a role with that. To see the results that he had were part of the things that drew me in to say, okay, this might be a good option for my patients. And then I also just dealing with physicians in general. Many other physicians I've spoken to in this space had the same doubts and same hesitant thoughts that I did. But what won them over were testimonials. Testimonials from their patients, testimonials from family, or even personally taken. I've had other physicians say I had pain that was not responding to anything, and I started to take gold, or I started to take one of the other products, and I saw how much better I was. So at that point, I let down my guard of, hey, I don't want to be a salesman, to, hey, I want to just tell others about it. And Aspen will say, just right.
Yeah, wave that flag. That's
He'll
right.
say, wave the Bravenly flag. Why is that? And that means just, hey, tell others about your experience. Tell others about what this product has done for me, or what I've seen it do for other people, or how this business structure has changed my life or changed my family's life. And then at that point, you drop it and go. And if somebody wants to be a part of it or wants to buy a product, they will.
Yeah.
And if not, then they don't. And I think that's with life in many different times, like many different aspects. You cannot control what others' response will be, but you can tell them about it, or you can educate them about it. I spend hours upon hours educating patients, and then I'll get a blank stare, or I say, well, are you ready to proceed? And they'll say, oh, well, I'm going to get another opinion, or hey, I'm going on vacation and I want to do this next year. Like, okay, perfect. We just talked for 30 minutes. But that's life. So do not feel the pressure of, I have to sell this to somebody. Just tell them your story, tell them how it's impacted you, tell them what you've seen, and leave it alone.
But what people don't see is everything that Shannon's been able to come off of since his surgery. We had this scare of, does he have a clotting disorder? Because what a lot of people don't know, and I know that you'll get to talk with him and get more of his story from his perspective. Watching it was scary too, but him going through it is a whole different thing. But, having the saddle embolism, not being able to breathe, having to have a second procedure after, bilateral surgery on his knees, that he says to this day was the easy part. That was the easy part. It was the being in the locked braces, from ankle to thigh, and then the clotting, and then worrying, okay, well, do I have a clotting disorder? Does this run in my family? As an African American man, he's like, I already worry about blood pressure. I already worry about clotting. I already worry about my heart. I already worry about different things like that. And so seeing his labs and going with him to these doctor's visits, follow-ups, still sees a hematologist just out of caution every 6 months. And she was like, wow, your labs look great. We'll just keep running labs every 6 months. You'll come in. If I see something, we'll call you and we'll talk about it. But whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And so that's the stories that I love to hear personally. And yes, that's my husband. We have 100,000 more like them, where the more people are giving it a try and past the sample pack, right? Past the one little stick pack of hydrate or one stick pack of brew, like past those one servings, when they're really putting in and saying, I want to make a difference in my life and others, and trying this for longer than, and there is instant gratification in some of the products. You take a rush, you're going to feel it. And within about 30 minutes, and it's going to last throughout the day pretty much. You do an Ignite, you're going to feel it. You're going to have that appetite control and have to remind yourself to eat. You do an Adapt, you're going to have that like zoned in Zen function of focus. And so the products work, the labs that you don't see, it's all the stories you don't see. There's so many, like I said, that could be claims. But as far as Shannon goes with playing basketball and then jumping on the trampoline, when he said he was going to do a flip on the trampoline, I told him no. I do not want to go back to the hospital. And what a lot of people don't know is 8 years prior, he tore his Achilles from playing basketball. So that's why I was just like, we're done. We're done with basketball. It's like, if you want to ref. And then we saw refs and how they run down the court. I was like, no, that's out too. So, it was just a matter of, man, and that's his life. Like, his family's a huge basketball family. His aunt played in the WNBA, and went to the Olympics, like Hall of Fame, and so, and watching Aaliyah, our middle daughter out there, I can tell he wants to like go and do more. And he's the comfort of knowing that he can go out there and his legs feel good, the comfort of knowing that there's not a clot in his lungs, and I'm not saying Bravenly prevented the clots. I'm just saying that we have the natural products to help support all of that, where his doctor, his hematologist, the specialists are like, keep doing what you're doing. It's working. You can wean off of this medication and this medication. And if that's all there is, if that's all there was, and I never made a cent and I never sold to another person and it helped Shannon, then that would be I'd be 100% fine with that. But these products are too good not to share in the business as well. And maybe if other physicians could think like you, as far as, and there's a lot that have joined the team, and I get that question of, how did you land Dr. Burgess? Well, it took 11 months. It took a lot. And you told me no more than you told. You told me no a lot. And I think when you guys came here and we went to dinner, I think, and I tell this story because first, I find it funny, but second, because I was like, it's good. You want to, especially as a physician that went to school for 15 years outside of, that specialized in pouring back into the community, and helping others and mentoring. Like, a lot of people don't know that about you, that you mentor athletes and you mentor others to be great at what they're doing, not just your children and your wife, but other people in the community. But I think that what's funny is when you said, Raina, I've been watching you and you're either a really good liar or you really believe in these products. And I was like, did this man just call me a liar? And then I was like, no, you're right. Like, either you believe in it or you don't. And people are going to read right through that. Like, either you're passionate about it or you're not. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And going up to somebody that I may go up to somebody that I see running in the neighborhood that's a size 2, that's super fit, that I see running every morning, and say, hey, I see you drinking that Red Bull to get through this run. Let me give you a hydrate. Well, who am I to go up to them and say that? Well, when they take it, I just had somebody at the pool yesterday place the order because I gave her Strawberry Rush while she was drinking a Celsius. She tasted the Strawberry Rush. She was like, oh, I really like that. What's your website? So it's just, there's so many missed opportunities too. There's so many times I could have shared it that I didn't. That I did hear that mom say she was exhausted, or that dad say that he was just done with the day, or whatever. And you're right. Not everybody's going to join you. Not everybody's going to try the products. And one thing Aspen said as the CEO and founder, not everybody is meant to. They are not going to be open to it until they're open to it. Me and you can say something to a family member and they're not going to listen. They may hear it from a friend and they'll listen. And that's just the truth. Like, it's not that they don't love and trust us. It's just a matter of they've got to hear it and their heart and mind be open to the opportunity. So I think it's definitely something to be shared. Courage, integrity, impact, the 3 pillars. I mean, it's a faith-based family company, debt-free. And so it was kind of a no-brainer. And like I said, when I told my sister-in-law I was going to join you, if you ever do something again, I kept my word, and I'm so glad I did, because if I didn't, where would we be at right now, where I've resigned from my job at an engineering firm? And where would we be at to where I can be present with my kids? And that may not be everybody's story. My next door neighbor that's a customer, she's like, I don't want to be in business. I love being a nurse. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. And that's fine. That's not everybody's story, but there may be something. It may be giving back. Aspen even said it best on a call, a VP and up call we had, where she was like, if you don't need the money, don't worry about the money. Like, give it away. If you don't need the money, help somebody else become a brand partner. Help them fund their kit. Help them, give back. Go sponsor a child overseas or right here in the US. If you don't want the money, but you know that you can make the stream of income, put it back. Put it back into the products. Other thing I was going to say is one thing that I learned is you have to be open for business, just as if you had a brick and mortar store and you were opening the doors. You would pour into that business. Same thing with this network marketing industry, is you would have to make sure you're open. Everybody that knows me knows that they can text me anytime about Bravenly and I'm going to respond. It's not I'm only open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and don't talk to me about Bravenly. Like, I'll talk to you at any time. These orders are getting placed before I even reach out or have a chance. That's where residual income comes in as well. So
I think what you mentioned, timing is important, and you never know when it is the right season for someone else until you just tell them about it. And then also from this community, or just in general, what I've noticed is that when you join the right community, there's a fit. And like, I'm involved with Next Level Speakers Academy, but when I go to their meeting, they're praying over people, they're speaking life into people, and you walk away like, okay, I came for this, but I got this as well. And I think that's many things what people say inside the Bravenly community is that I came for extra income, or I came for products, and I left with a tribe of like-minded people who are pushing me to be better. And then the other thing you threw it out there and it just kind of glazed over, but saddle embolus. What a saddle embolus is. So we know blood clots are bad. And then when blood clots break off and go to your lungs, a pulmonary embolus is bad. But when you have a saddle embolus, that is a very large blood clot that breaks off and travels to your lungs and actually blocks the pulmonary artery that gives blood flow to both lungs, which is a life-threatening condition, to say the least. So we're talking about not someone who had blood clots. We're talking about someone who really at some points we thought might not be here. And now to see him make this recovery, to see him performing the way that he is and living life to his fullest potential, that, cannot just be skimmed over. So, and with having to take serious medications and still be able to take the products and still be able to have the approval from specialists, that's very important.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's something that I can now talk about without getting super emotional,
Sure.
but it was tough for sure. And, even when it hit me, I think is when we were at one hospital having to be transferred to the other. And I was like, okay, let's go. And they're like, I don't think you understand. You can't move him. We have to move him because if that clot travels from his lungs to his heart, it's over. And I was like, wait, what? And then when they showed me after the surgery, because that's a whole thing that he can definitely talk about because it's definitely a God in the story. But, when they did the procedure, it was still an experimental procedure. Typically, for blood clots, you get blood thinners, you go home, they thin out. But this was, like you said, it was across both lungs, huge blood clots. And when the surgeon came out and showed us, and he was, I mean, worn out, you could tell. But the Inari procedure, going in with a catheter and suctioning them out just so he could breathe, because at that point he felt like he couldn't breathe. Doing that, and then him still getting blood clots again in his legs, but then they traveling back to the lungs, but being small enough to be on blood thinners and all that. Like, that's something that we think of now when if he has any kind of pain, which is very rare. It's like, hey, behind my rib is hurting. Well, that's where it started. The coughing up blood, that's where it started. The running fever, that's where it started. So anytime he's sick with a little cough, now instead of being like, oh, you're all right, no, what is it? Where does it hurt? It's a lot more urgent. But yeah, suctioning those blood clots out, knowing that if one traveled to his heart would be it, like he wouldn't be here right now. That's another aspect of it too. And people don't want to talk about finances when there's something of life and death. However, he was scared because he was out of work for 6 months, and that was scary for him as the provider for our family. And we've always been a 2-income family, and so I was literally like, we've got to find something. And Bravenly happened 2 years later. And I was thinking, man, if I had found that then we wouldn't have to worry about that. We wouldn't have to worry about that aspect of it. But we're thankful he's here. We're thankful that, I mean, he talks about gold to everybody. And Shannon's not a bring up any kind of product person. It doesn't matter if it works or not. And he's in sales, but he's, in leadership. And so he coaches and delegates to his team. But it doesn't matter if there's a cologne he likes. He may tell his closest friend, like, hey, you need to try this. But other than that, he's not like a poster for try this. But anybody that says anything about surgery or inflammation or pain, and he's like, gold, gold, gold. And so I like watching him be able to share his story, because it can, he's the one that lived it, and we watched it, and it was scary, and you guys watched it, and it was definitely something that was life changing. So, why not use something natural to help and continue to help him be better and do better and have agility. Just the stairs, just the people don't understand just the simple act of walking up and down the stairs, and how he was holding on for dear life on the rail. And I have a gate belt around him holding, like, to get him up and down the stairs just to transfer, or getting him in and out of the car. It's definitely something that's been life changing for us. And for some reason in society, people don't want to hear life changing. They think it's a scam. They think it's, this, because there's so much out there. Take this and it's going to do this. And so we have to be careful with what's claimed, but we know what's real and what's not real. And so we're thankful for the products for our family, and that we can share it with others. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So as many times on this podcast, what happens is that I start off with one focus in mind, and it turns into something very different, which is exactly what this did today. Hopefully this information is helpful. This is simply my opinion. I cannot speak for all doctors. However, I know a lot of doctors. I work with a lot of doctors, and we seem to have pretty similar mindset when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. Many times it's foreign to the majority of people, but many of us are open, and more open now in this season of life, especially with all the changes in medicine, to look for alternative forms of medicine, look for alternative streams of income, really because we want to find freedom of our time and freedom to be able to live life and not just be tied to the job. Because as a physician, many times if you're not physically there, you're not getting paid. So that's stressful. It's leading to burnout. So we really have to change that narrative.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine.